From the heart of Europe to the world, this is RTI.
And welcome to Postcard from Poprad. And this is quite scary, really, because I'm on the telly as well as on the radio. Oh, my God. This is your alternative sideways look at the news every week here on RTI, as I sit here in Poprad. And because we've got lots of new listeners, I'll explain to you that Poprad is sort of centre to east of Slovakia, just underneath Poland and up above Hungary and to the right of Austria. I'm never very good at east and west, and we have a little chatette with people, and we start with oh no, I've done the wrong thing now. Oh dear, I want Dave over here to help me out. We start with Mr. Banks, who's in where is he? Oh yes, England. Hello.
Hiya.
Hello.
That's very nice to say where I am. What if people are looking for me?
Well, they've already found you. Don't worry.
Oh, all right then. Yes, yeah. I'm here in glorious Blighty.
Yes, glorious, eh?
Eh?
You said glorious Blighty.
Well, that had irony in it. It was taking the mickey out of this rainy, drizzly, grey, windy, cold, freezing, boring, awful, stinky, messy country.
Oh, right. Well, in which case, then, we won't talk to you anymore. We'll just go down to Australia and see if the trip from Adelaide to Melbourne has worked.
Well, yeah, but I don't think you guys got my email.
No,
we did.
Did we?
I did.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, Rachel, what did it say?
That I was unconscious and won't be with you.
And that she was going to bed because she's tired. You naughty boy.
It's okay. I'm here now.
Do you want us to let you go back to bed, you bye-byes?
No, that's all right. I'm with you, but I must warn our lovely audience that I'm just shockingly unprepared. But that's okay. I'll just wing
That's
it.
not new. That's every week, dear.
I'm so
true.
Because this is the trouble. Actually, my chairman says this all the time, and he tells me off for it. He says, you send an email, then expect people to read it. And what happens if they're not reading their emails at the time? I go, well, you should be. And now it's backfired on me a bit, hasn't it?
Just a little bit, but that's okay. I didn't have to answer.
No, that's
I
true.
answered you. I sent you an email saying have a nice sleep, darling.
Thank you.
Did you?
So you didn't read your emails either?
No, because I was just sort of shut my eyes. But you know what? I'm here, and that's the main thing.
This is true. And do you know what? We've got this lovely new chat room on it. And do you know what the last message is on there? You can't believe it. I said,
what?
Because people can actually see me, well, not all of me, they can see the studio and my hand, strategically placed so you can't see me face. And I said, do you know what? This proves that I'm actually doing some work. And the response from Dave Rhodes was, there's a first time for everything.
Oh.
He's been that busy, he couldn't read his emails, though.
Anyway, welcome one and all, whether you're on the webcam side or the radio side, wherever you happen to be. This is Postcard from Poprad, and I've obviously made a mistake by waking Rachel up, who's been to Adelaide and has been on a road trip back from Adelaide, and now I feel really bad.
I say I didn't have to answer. I could have easily not answered you.
Yeah, but you're not
I could have just ignored the stuff. No, I'm not like that. As soon as it rings, I go, yes?
Oh, you do, don't you?
Excuse me. While Rachel is being applauded for being heroic and answering the phone when she's been tired because she's been out driving from Adelaide to wherever she lives, because I've forgotten, because I'm not very well,
Melbourne.
Actually, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and everybody else.
Melbourne.
I have this flu.
Melbourne.
But I'm here too.
Oh,
Melbourne.
I do. Melbourne, you're right, it is Melbourne. It's pretty far. You have a flu, Uncle Leigh. That's not very good.
I know, it's all can't hear you. I've got this really sexy voice.
No.
You always sound sexy to me.
Oh,
She
no.
never said that to
I'm
you.
going to throw up again in a minute.
Oh, that's how tired I am.
If they're going to do that sort of stuff all day, just get a room, you two. Anyway, this is supposed to be your alternative sideways look at the news, and we've got so much stuff this week.
We have.
It's unreal. And if we get through it, it'll be a miracle. And the only downside I've got now is I've got a professional producer listening to what's going on and able to comment, which flipping well scares me. Anyway, this is a story that Leigh found, so I'm going to let him do it. And I have to say, it is probably the saddest story we've ever done.
I think it is. I think it really is. That every now and again, the news agenda reveals something which is just heartbreaking, but also in a way it's romantic. It tells a real true life story, and it moves you. And this is the story of a man who was in a car crash, and literally the car crash ripped his head from his spine. And he was told that he wouldn't live, but he wanted to carry on. And for 12 years, he lived in pain to be with his partner, Karen Dawson. And his name is Tony Cowan. He was aged 31, and he lost control of his car in 2014 and had this horrific injury. He carried on despite the injury, which was quite horrific. He was crippled, and he stayed at home with his wife. She became his carer. With his girlfriend, she became his carer, and they watched films together. They'd order takeaways. He tried his best to make life just as normal as he possibly could, even though he'd got this horrific injury. Anyway, sadly, the pain of what had happened to him started to become far too much, and he ended up back in hospital. He really couldn't cope with the pain. So they decided, basically on the spur of the moment, that they would get married in church, in hospital. And his wife to be went out and bought herself some new clothes, came to the hospital, and the hospital staff decorated the ward room with various bits and pieces to make it feel like it should do. And they were married. And then 4 days later, he had his life support machine turned off, because the pain that he was in was so unbelievable. And he was buried a few days ago with the wedding dress his wife would have worn if they'd have got married in church. Just a very moving, very sad story.
But it worries me a bit.
Why?
Well, this was in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Now, who switched the ventilator off then?
It's an interesting point. I assume that things have changed now, and whereas euthanasia is against the law still in Britain, etc., there are times where the medical profession can allow people to die just by inaction. Whether that's right or wrong or not, that's a different debate. I don't know. I assume it must be the hospital that turned it off. I can't see he would turn it off, as he couldn't move. Well,
I suppose it would be possible if he got slight movement on finger and thumb, so he was in control of it, so nobody else would get into trouble. But this strikes me that with this guy, and I've seen a couple of cases in the Supreme Court in London, where people have gone to court saying, I want the right to die, and they are able to live without a life support machine. The court said no. So this seems a bit of an odd scenario, because the coroner has concluded he died as a result of a road traffic collision.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is kind of like covering it up for everybody, but letting everybody off the hook. I think that I don't think it's a cover up as such. I think what you said, it allowed his decision on his life. It's a very landmark a situation, really, when you think. Like I say, I've got a chap down the road who hopefully we will talk to fairly soon, a chap called Tony, who has a very serious debilitating condition, so bad that he really can't do anything at all, needs help with absolutely every aspect of his life. Mm-hmm. And he wants to die. He wants to be allowed to die, but at the moment, he's being stopped doing that. There is a video on the Consumer Watch Foundation at the moment about
assisted dying, and it is that thing, and there is a point where you have to take control of your life in the world. In the UK, you are expected to take control of your life, but the sad thing is somebody else takes control of your death.
Absolutely,
and maybe that's wrong.
At which point we'll say hi to TC. Hello, TC. How the devil?
Cat.
TC, where are you? I
In
wish
the dustbin.
He's not in a dustbin. I wish everybody would say where they are on the chat room, because then I could go, hello, Mars, or hello, Jupiter, or hello, the Antarctic, or something. You know.
That's a really good internet connection from those planets.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah.
If you're on the toilet, don't tell us.
Yeah, I suppose you're right, Rach, because it'd be a long bit of wire, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. And you
It's a wireless world, a wireless universe.
No, because we'd have to go from
satellites.
Jupiter to Mars, another bit of string to the moon, and another bit of string from the moon to here.
Actually, that was quite poetic, wasn't it, Rach?
Possibly. Did I do poetry?
You did poetry. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I'll stop it instantaneously. We'll go to Rachel for this one because she knows a lot about this particular young lady, and she sadly died at 80 years young. Mary Tyler Moore.
Gorgeous woman, and a real trailblazer too for women.
Was she?
She was.
How
She was. That role that she played was awesome. She was a single woman in the city and a successful journalist, and kicking butt all by herself without the aid of a man, which was really unusual in that era, in sitcoms especially on television. They were all portrayed as housewives mostly back then.
Oh right.
But she was just a legend, and what a fantastic career she had.
Yeah.
She went on to do some extraordinary work. Ordinary People was one of the best films ever made, and she was extraordinary in it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then she went on to do a lot of other things, but the thing I loved the most, she was there's a show that just recently finished in the States called Hot in Cleveland, and Betty White stars, and Betty White and Mary Tyler Moore were on the Mary Tyler Moore show together. So she did this cameo on Hot in Cleveland, and it was nice to see those two back together. And then they rolled in Valerie Harper as well, and then they rolled in Cloris Leachman. It was like a Mary Tyler Moore reunion. It was really great.
Do you know, there's everybody in America listening, understanding every word you're saying.
I know.
I understood what she was saying.
Did she? Well, that's because I'm in Slovakia.
The poet. It's the poet doesn't know, does he, Rach?
You mean I'm a poet and didn't know it?
You're a poet. And you should be,
Right. More of a limericist.
Well, Circle City's in the USA, but that doesn't exactly tell me where you are. I need to know precisely where you are. I don't mean home or work or office, just the town would do. I'd be happy with that.
A state in the United States is helpful.
Will that work? I could do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to several states, and I've been in a state several times.
Excuse me.
Why?
Wonderful.
Because I just did a cough, because I'm poorly.
Oh,
very
dear,
well.
oh, dear.
But I was being polite, and I put my hand over my mouth, as you should do when you cough, but that meant I couldn't flick the cough button.
Well, no. Anyway, one that is a very sad news who's passed along this week at the age of 75 is Gordon Kay, who was the famous man from Hello Hello, which is just... I've got some DVDs of that, and I must admit, after the news came in, I did sit and watch a couple of them, and they are timeless. They really are. They're fantastic.
They're great.
Yeah,
They're so funny.
And the comedy timing. Oh, what? He's just so good at it. Absolutely so good at it. But he wasn't just in Hello Hello, because Leigh will now boast about where else he was.
Will I?
Yeah.
All right, then. He was in all sorts of things. In 1976, right, this is classic, this is, because I had no idea he was going to say to that, but I did my research. In 1976, he was seen as an absolutely stunning hulk of masculinity and played romantic roles, and he was just amazing. He appeared in things like Last of the Summer Wine, Are You Being Served? He was even in Coronation Street and Emmerdale.
I knew that one was going to come as the last
Oh my God, he
powerful.
was great. are you being served with the noisy raincoat?
Yeah.
That was the funniest thing I've ever
It was
seen.
brilliant. But René was really cool. Just so funny. And the way he used to sort of play up to his star in there was just so funny. Because the adults saw it as adult humour, but the kids saw it as kids' humour. It's so cleverly done.
That's a very good point. It was like that.
Great use of the double entendre.
Double entendre? Yeah, we like double entendre. I once said to somebody on the phone on a radio station, "What's it like up your end?" And everybody laughed at me. But she did live in an end, because it was absolutely end. And
That was just disgusting. There was no reason at all to share that.
wasn't there not? Oh, okay. I'll better share this then instead. Pete Overend Watts, he was the bassist with Mott the Hoople. For all the young people, that's a rock band from many years ago, about the same time as Leigh was at school.
He's so nice to me. I love you.
Why?
Nothing at all. Nothing.
Well, Mott the Hoople are from sort of like 1930 or something.
Mott the Hoople were a brilliant band. I met Mott. I've forgotten his name. But him, who's still going and still doing very well. And they were playing a club called the Magic Village in the centre of Manchester. And it was just a derelict building with a cellar, and it was so dangerous, really, to go in there. And Mott the Hoople played there, and we imbibed in various things, and had a chat together. And it was really good, really good. And I met Peter Overend Watts. Why he was called Overend, after your comment, I do not know.
But the trouble is, that was only a very small venue, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Well, we saw everybody. It was incredible. What a place it was. We saw all sorts of people there. Lou Reed, he appeared there. The bloke who stood on one leg playing a flute, he appeared there.
Uh-huh. Stop ruining my punchline.
Sorry, dear.
Because I was going to say, because the club was at the top bit, wasn't it? And there was another cellar underneath, wasn't there?
Oh, I don't know.
I think there was, because they used to grow vegetables in there. That's why there wasn't much mushroom inside.
That just wasn't worth it, was it?
Not really. No. It was a tumbleweed moment.
I really thought you were a fun guy.
Hey!
I bet you lot on there have never heard radio like this before. Anyway, one of the greats of the House of Commons in the UK, and the House of Commons does have these eccentric people in there, and some of them are just fab and groovy and wonderful, and they also play up to the fact that they are eccentric. And one of them is who's died this week at the age of 84 was Tam Diel. He was a Labour MP for more than 40 years, but the crazy thing was, Tam Diel was actually an aristocrat.
He certainly was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he should have been to the right-hand side of politics, and yet he was to the left-hand side, and boy, could he make a speech.
He kept it secret, though, didn't he? Because, shall we tell the ladies and gentlemen what he was actually known as, his full title?
Yeah, go on then.
And this is where the working man element of being in the Labour Party came into it, because he was called Sir Thomas Dalyell of the Bins.
Of the Bins.
That's right.
Yes, he was the 11th baronet who lived in the Bins.
See, like Top Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's a Top Cat reference.
I was going to say, TC, this is your house.
Yeah.
But no, he was actually a really strong Labour Party person, which is the left-hand side of politics in the UK.
Posh people can have a conscience too.
Well, I've got a conscience.
Yeah, but you're not posh.
Well, that's true. I was posh once.
Yeah, I'm talking about somebody who's a knob. He's a knob, isn't he?
No,
Or he was a knob.
I was posh.
You were, but you lived in a post office. That's right, you were posh.
No, not that. I went on a boat.
You went on a what?
That's right.
On a
You
boat.
lived on a boat. You did.
What does that make you posh?
Port out, starboard home.
That's
Yacht.
not... Oh, I see. Good, all the posh people were put on boats and sent over to Australia. That's how Rachel was born.
Oh, right.
We're a convict nation.
Yeah.
Yes. Convicted of everything. In his first interview, President Trump has given some images of his views on things. This was given to ABC's David Muir. And I have a vague feeling that President Trump did that on purpose just to annoy some other news outlets, and made sure, of course, it was the American Broadcasting Company, of which we had Tommy Rivers here last week from the exact same company. Because there you go, Mr. Trump, we're as posh as you are. So get out of that one. But you know that I'm still lost.
We're not in golden towers, though.
No, that's true. I could put some gold leaf on the wall if you like. Could paint it.
I really hope you don't.
No, I won't actually.
I actually had shortbread biscuits 2 days ago, which actually had gold leaf on them. Now that's posh, Mr. Trump.
Yeah, that is posh, isn't it?
Yeah,
didn't you take,
very nice.
Did you take the gold leaf off first?
Say that again, dear.
Didn't you take the gold leaf off first and flog it?
No, you ate the gold leaf.
Ugh.
Oh, it was very pleasant. Yeah, you can get it in drinks as well. I've had cocktails, gold leaf cocktails as well. They're very nice.
Very common for chefs to use gold leaf.
Very common. Well, there you are then.
Only common chefs, yeah.
Lee's had it in everything. It fits.
Yes, I have had it in everything, and I've been in trouble. I paid the price.
But as per usual, and Leigh and I were actually talking about this before we came on air, I'm still a bit miffed about some of the political journalists at the moment, because one of them this week, and I actually saw and heard this guy say it, and I'm not going to name him because, do you know what? I think he's the worst political editor I've ever seen in my life. And as an interviewer, he should be a bin man. He really should.
Tom Dial.
No. No, Tam Dial was a nice bloke. Anyway, this journalist said, he was referencing the Prime Minister, Mrs. Theresa May, going to America. And then he actually said, maybe she'll be able to tame the new president. Which, to me, is just so politically biased. And I don't like this new style of journalism, as Leigh quite rightly pointed out to me, it's new style. And so I bow to his superior knowledge. Because, to me, a political journalist, especially an editor, should be unbiased.
I know exactly. I'm sure Rachel does as well, because Rachel writes for CWF, and she understands as well. I agree with you. If you go back 20 years and longer, that was the way that journalists were expected to. A workaday reporter was expected to be unbiased. As you moved up the ranks in journalism, then you reached positions like editorships or political editorships or whatever, where you could actually impose a certain political voice onto what you were saying. And at the moment, you see, you've got to look at it this way, because there was something that you put on the Facebook earlier this week, which I commented on, and then it disappeared. The simple fact is that everybody through social media now has an opinion on absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And you're saying that the only people who shouldn't have opinion are reporters. You also put on the internet earlier this week that we need to defend the right to freedom of speech, etc.
I agree.
And I put on, the simple fact is, the only people who are not allowed freedom of speech anymore are journalists.
No,
I think it's something that's really interesting that's come out of not only the campaign, but now with Mr. Trump as president, is that journalists have, for the first time I can recall, taken sides, as it were. Papers were coming out, backing a candidate. Mostly it was Hillary against him. They were backing her. But what's interesting now is that they've got this. There's a guy who was in charge of a paper that's basically a Nazi publication, and he's telling everybody that the press. He was quoted as saying the press need to shut their mouth.
That's what everybody's saying. The press has to shut their mouth because everybody's got a voice on Facebook. What a load of rubbish!
The press is the job of the media and journalists in particular is to challenge the administration. So,
Well
and
said.
regardless of who it is, if it's Obama, challenge him. If it's Trump, challenge him. If it's
Yes.
whoever, it's their job to challenge, but they have to be allowed to do that.
But
and the First Amendment rights, the Constitution say they can. So
Yeah,
just
but
let
Rach,
them.
I would add to that my job, if you like, is hang on. This is from Michael. BBC News has become recently disgusting bias since Brexit, and now with Trump as president. And last Sunday, I turned the news off as it was disgraceful.
Well, yeah, carry on reading fake news on Facebook, Michael.
No,
That's where the
but you
real
see-
news is. It's in the fake news. Turn off the real news. Turn off the people who know what they're doing and know how to tell a story and how to research it. Read the rubbish that people put on
But
Facebook. That's where the future lies.
I saw that, and I can't remember the exact words that were said, but I did see that piece, and it was a sharp intake of breath, as this guy was actually politically biased when doing a news report. And coming back to my point of a moment ago, my view is we should be a portal to the news, not necessarily commenting on certain areas. But we are here as the link, the portal between one group of people and another group of people. Now, I know that sometimes, especially me, I have a rant about technical journalists because I wouldn't let one of them put a plug on because they're rubbish. And, that's because I have a technically orientated background. And, that to me is fine. But when it gets to politics, I don't do politics. And I don't think I should.
Can I just tell you very briefly what I did? I made a mistake in a story on the Consumer Watch Foundation this week. I'd found what I thought was a good story. I wrote it in a way that I thought would suit the site and would interest people. And I made an horrendous...
Oh dear, what has happened there? We have a small technical issue here, boys and girls, and how to fix it, I have currently no idea, but I'll have a go. What I'll have to do is that, and see if that'll work. Yeah, it will. We've actually had one of our servers crash on me in the middle of a live programme. Now, that is a bit scary. So you'll just have to put up with me for a minute whilst I get the pair of them back, which could be quite hysterical. Do you know what? This is true, boys and girls. He's still there, I think, Dave. Whenever Dave's around, this happens to me. One day, I was doing a telly show, and absolutely seriously, we got about 5 minutes into a telly show. You can back this up as true on the chat room, Dave. And we get about, 5 or 10 minutes down, and we're supposed to go to some VT. Dave's laughing now. And I get this message. Sorry, the playout system has crashed. You'll have to pad for a minute. So I pads for a minute, and then 2 minutes, and then 3 minutes, and 5 minutes. Luckily, and this is, if ever you're on the telly, this is a top tip for you. When you sweat a lot on the telly, actually the cameras can't necessarily see it. So you see people who don't know about telly, they go, because they can feel the sweat above their top lip, but actually the cameras can't see it. I'm now dripping wet with sweat. And thank you, Dave. Dave just said I'm very good at padding. That's probably my midriff. And keep going. I will, Dave. It's just rebooting at the moment, just to keep everybody up to speed. And so this is television, which is not as easy in terms of what you're doing as a host compared to radio, because if necessary I could even put a piece of music on now and I can get away with it, but when you're doing telly you can't just nip off to a CD or a record or something. Oh no, that's a bit old. Or a record or something, because you just can't. So I can't remember whether, I've got two figures in my head. It was either 45 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes, and I cannot for the life of me remember which it was. But anyways, doing 45 minutes of padding when you're on telly is the most horrific thing you can do. I even ended up interviewing the cameramen because I couldn't. Hour and 15. Thanks, Dave. It was an hour and 15 because I couldn't. I had no other content, and we got all this wonderful content lying ready to go from famous broadcast people and all sorts. And at the end of the day, I had nothing to play. So for an hour and 15 minutes, I just sat there. Thank you. Yes, as Dave just said, we were not rushing for you. Funny that. Not rushing. Ho, ho, ho. And this machine's not rushing either, which could cause me all sorts of problems in a minute, but we'll see where we get to. Because I've got no sound on it now either. Marvellous. How wonderful is that? It's now booting up. You're doing all right. Okay, thank you very much. That works for me then. We might have to go to the backup computer, which we can do in a mo. Now let me just see what we're doing here. Audio. Oh, come on, don't be silly. Start working, you numpty. That's better. It's having a mega strop now. It really is having a mega strop. I don't know why, but it just is. So we'll try all over again and see if we can get some people back. Because it's been a long period of time as me padding, and we'll ask Uncle Leigh if you're there. Are you there, Leigh?
I'm here. Were you padding?
I was padding like mad.
So were Rachel and I. We were padding as well.
You didn't know what was going on. Well, actually,
we didn't.
The main server actually crashed.
Oh no!
Yes.
See, modern set. That wouldn't have happened if you had a printing press.
Yeah, right. Okay. So anyway, I haven't told any stories. I've just been padding. I don't know where Rachel's got to.
We've done the Oscar snub.
Well, I'm going to do that again now because nobody else heard it, which is rather funny, really. I'm now even intrigued as to how you carried on hearing each other when I got. Oh, it doesn't matter. And now Rachel's gone away. Oh, well, we'll try and bring her back. But anyway, we'll move on to the Oscar snub. And did I get away with that or not? I don't know. But we keep trying. The films that didn't make the Academy, there was a massive story about this, actually.
I can't get it. Rachel and I have just been discussing it with the public who weren't there. I don't get it. Why is it important that these films were missed?
I don't know. This is the whole point of me grabbing the story, is that the entertainment media went bonkers, and they actually called it Oscar snubs.
Yeah,
Oscar snubs. Now, I'm sorry, if you're in New Zealand right now and you were snubbed by the Oscars people, there's probably a good reason for that. Do you know what it is?
Your film was rubbish.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. Hello, Rach.
Hello, Rach.
Are you there?
Oh, no.
Are you there, Rachel?
Has she gone to sleep?
I don't know. She might have done. She's there.
She's just not talking to us. It's because you cut us off.
Could be.
Don't know.
Anyway, so the entertainment press went ballistic and said there was a New Zealand film which was they called it a gem. Well, that means to me it's rubbish. A South Korean erotic romance and a US road trip were amongst those that failed to impress the Academy. And they say that every year there's a few critically acclaimed movies that go unnoticed by the Academy, and 2017 is no different. Well, yeah, because they're junk.
It's interesting. I've just used as I'm having a rant about I'm having a really bad-tempered, angry rant about the way we are being treated as news gatherers. I can see, actually, now, having listened to what you were saying, the reason for writing this story. I don't think it's a very good story, but the reason is because these films go unsung when they don't make it onto the Academy's list. Mm. And so, really...
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, hello. We're back. Hello, Rach.
Hello. I thought I'd been fired in the middle of the...
But it's that these are unsung films, and sometimes it's nice to look at what didn't make it rather than look at while you're looking at what made it, look at what didn't make it. That's the only reason I can see for this story.
Darling. Yes, at my tender age that I have, don't laugh out there. At my tender
It's
age...
only a tender age because he's that old, everything hurts.
It did the other day when I fell over, and I wasn't drunk either. It did hurt when I fell on my derriere in the snow. But
Where were you in Ireland?
No, it was
Sorry,
in
carry on.
Poprad. Thank you. This whole thing, I haven't got time to watch rubbish movies. I don't have time in my life for things like that.
Get Netflix, that's all you do.
Oh, don't. Can't be bothered. The truth is that these so-called entertainment journalists throw their toys out the pram. It's every year they do it. They go, oh, that one was good because the light setting as the bloke fell down a well was wonderful. And I go, yeah, and? It doesn't make it a good film.
Well, that's the art of the film.
Yeah, exactly. And you've got to remember that a lot of these awards are for... The reason why we don't vote on them is because they're for industry people to vote on what's been going on in their own industry. We don't vote on, the best TV commercials. A bunch of advertising people vote on those. We don't vote on the best songs at the Grammys. The people who make the music vote on those. It's to celebrate their own industry, and we just get to peak.
Yeah.
And I think that's really not. So we're not qualified to make judgments. We are qualified to vote on the People's Choice Awards and, I don't know what you guys have in Britain.
X Factor.
I don't know.
The Facebook of television.
No.
Right,
No.
so
Listen, guys.
What's popular, it's what's good.
It was like when, as Dave's here at the moment, we'll keep picking on him. Dave's on the chat room, Rach. And when Dave and I worked on the radio before together with one of the offshoots of the BBC, the commercial director said, oh, you should put that programme in for the New York Awards. So I said, why? He said, well, in the category that you're in, I don't think there'll be any competitors. You'll get a gold award. I said, I don't want one. And he couldn't get his head round the fact I did not want a fiddled gong from a fiddled thing, which was a complete load of old tut. I'm more interested in doing not this show, because this show's over in a second. We've got to think about doing a great next show, not the one we're in now. And these and the Oscars to me are exactly the same, as are the people that say I didn't get on the Oscars, I'm going to eat worms. No, it's because you're rubbish.
It's not though.
That's
so unfair.
It's an industry celebrating their own industry, and that's okay. They're allowed to have them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's sporting awards for stupidity that I think's moronic. I mean, right now I'm sitting here watching two people bash a green ball across a net at each other, and apparently it's a big deal. I couldn't care less. But you know what? They do, and they have their own awards.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with celebrating what's great in your own industry. There's nothing wrong with that.
Don't start to believe your own hype.
Oh, it's actors and producers. Of course they're going to... It's what they're all about. Hype. That's what they do.
Now it's all starting to make...
This way.
I'm having a flashback moment now, dears.
Ooh.
I'm having a flashback moment to some of the people on the chat room at the moment who have produced shows with me. Now I understand why they're such lovies. Yeah, it makes sense now.
They're also lovies. They're proud of their work. And
That's right. Just think of it this way.
What?
Just think of it this way. How often, right, and I throw this open to you, both of you, this is what I do. I because we watch lots of films in our house, right, because we like films, but I can tell, generally, within the first 2 minutes, whether a film is going to be rubbish or good. And that's based on the lighting, the music, the breadth of the vision that's being presented at the beginning of that film, the way it's been directed and produced. It's just, and you know within seconds that is a classy film. Yeah. Now, everybody goes on, including Mr. Wiltsher, about things like that. What's that thing about that spacecraft?
Huh?
Yeah.
What? What do you mean?
That thing that's like the equivalent to, I don't know, that spaceship that you're always going on about.
What, the International Space Station?
I'm giving up now because I can't remember it because I'm not very well. I've got a bad throat, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Carry on.
Yeah, carry on.
Anyway, may I say in retort, as a former actress, and I went to film school for 3 or 4 years when I was in my 20s, and that was a really interesting experience after being a actress to going around the other side of the camera. But I've accepted thousands of Academy Awards in the mirror at home, and it was great. I enjoyed every moment of those fake awards that I gave myself, and I give myself awards all the time. All the time I go, congratulations, Rach, you were great in that particular folding of the socks today.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you very much.
All right. Well, Mike
says
says
celebrate yourself.
Mike says a plot has to grab me to get me interested into a film. Now, I kind of get that.
That's exactly what we were talking about, yeah.
I kind of get that, but
how long is it before you catch on to whether that plot's going to be good? If that's a really well presented... There's something on television at the moment called Manhattan about the building of the nuclear bomb, and from the second that opened, you were enthralled with it. You were
enthralled.
Well, so also we're all the millions of people who are watching it as well.
The great thing about all of this is that it's art and it's subjective. And that's why
exactly. Yes. Yeah. So why don't they have? So if that's the case, why don't they have art critics that I ever agree with?
Because mostly your taste is terrible.
I did leave the door open for that one. It's a boom time for steel.
This is a guy who reveres Top Gear, for goodness sakes. So come on.
And I do, and I'm a music critic.
I judge you for it. I judge you daily for it. I believe.
Yeah, right. It's a boom time for steel and cars in the UK, believe it or not. After last year, when they were going on and on and on about its doom and gloom, apparently a report that's out just ahead of the G7 meeting is showing that the UK economy grew by 2% in 2016, and this rivals faster growing areas such as the US, Canada, Japan, Germany, France, Italy, and Slovakia, by the way, that they missed off of that one. And I don't see any mention of Australia in there. Is it bad, Rach?
Yeah, but yeah.
Is your steel industry screwed now?
Well, it's just that we're sort of running out of resources. So our mining industry is slowly dying. Our resources are running out, and we have to now think about different things, renewable energies and so forth. So mining has become a real problem.
Blimey! Well, apparently, the motor traders and manufacturers and traders, showed that more than 1.72 million cars were built in the UK in 2016. That always worries me when they say made, because you don't know whether they're sold or not. But, which is up 8.5% on the previous year and the most since 1999. Well, that's
huge. Say that. It was a record 1.35 million was shipped abroad, so there were some.
Yeah, there was a few sold. So well done for them. We're just going to carry on. I'm not going to do the ad break now. I'm making an executive decision because we haven't got time now after the server crash. This is another one of those stories which gets my goat a bit because this started off as a committee in Parliament in the UK, which is has some people from one party, some people from another, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And they are suggesting that a failure to get tough with Britain's richest individuals, mainly footballers was the ones they were picking on actually, is undermining confidence in the whole tax system. Now, the reason that they got upset was because it's called Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, HMRC, which is the tax people, what do you call it in Australia, H?
The ATO.
That's it, thank you, I've forgotten. Same thing, and these very, very rich footballers are, what? Cashman. Oh.
Yeah?
Hello, Cashman. No, I can't play a song on YouTube at the minute. Silly Billy. What happens is that HMRC allocate kind of like a manager or a coordinator, call it what you will, to the very rich and famous, like the footballers. And the MPs are saying, well, maybe not all of them, that this is the wrong thing to do. They shouldn't be allocating somebody to them. Yes, they flipping should. Because if they allocate somebody just to a very rich footballer on £250,000 a week or something daft, the chances are if they do anything wrong, they'll find out if they're trying to fiddle anything. So they would effectively get more tax in than less. So yes. I don't understand why they're going, it's the wealthy that we're not getting. No, it's not. It's the blinking corporates that you let get away with it.
Excuse me.
Yeah, like that guy who's president of the United States.
This story isn't actually something. This is what Meg Hillier, who's the committee chairman, said. What we found was that since 2009, the amount of tax paid by the wealthiest actually went down by 1 billion. Well, if you think how many of the wealthiest people are there in this country, are there 11 billionaires in Britain?
I don't know.
I think there's something like that. And these people have actually seen their tax bill go down. That's possibly because they can pay people to bring their tax bill down. That they say that it's gone up by 23 billion for the rest of us.
Yeah, but the thing is, Leigh, for a lot of the really high income people, a lot of which get income from the stock market, investments and that sort of thing, during that period of time, the actual, and anybody who's got a building society account in the UK would know this as well, the amount of interest you were earning on money that you put into a deposit account went down the tubes.
Well, yeah, the bragging in Britain today, everybody, I don't know if you've seen these kind of adverts, that you can actually get 0.1% interest on your accounts now. 0.1%.
Absolutely rubbish. Yeah, so the whole MP thing is a bit of a banana thing. Just some quick message for Cashman. If you want us to play your song, young sir, what you need to do is send it to studio@rti.fm, and then we'll listen to it, and if we can fit it in, then we will do. But you need to submit new music to studio@rti.fm. We wouldn't play it directly in the studio without checking it out first. UK consumers have been warned that the country could lose 35% of its free-to-use cash machines unless there's some deal put together securing the network's £1 billion annual running costs. I don't understand. No comprendi.
What don't you understand, dear?
Well, if I use an ATM in Slovakia, I pay a fee.
Do you?
Yes.
We don't.
Even if it belongs to your bank?
No, if it belongs to my bank, I don't.
Same
Generally,
in
you
Australia.
don't.
If I use an ATM that doesn't belong to my bank, we get a $2 fee.
No, it's not as bad as that, but it's a few cents.
We get $2.
I don't think we get charged at all for that.
No, you don't.
I'll stand up and be counted if I'm wrong, but I don't think you pay a fee if you can use an ATM anywhere.
That's right. This is the case. And the reason I picked this story up is, guys, I'm sorry, this network costs £1 billion to run. Yeah. Now, who are you expecting to give you £1 billion for free to run this network?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Why are they complaining?
Well, because basically they are complaining because they want to start charging a fee. And what they're doing is using scare tactics, as are always used in these circumstances, saying, use it or lose it, but pay when you use it.
Yeah, and that's... Rachel and I have just proved to everybody that outside of the UK, and I agree it's only 2 countries, but it is predominantly like that anyway, that if you use your own bank around the country, you get a free point of access to your money. If you use a different bank or somebody else's ATM, you get paid a fee. You get charged a fee. Now, why can't that be the same in England? It's logical.
But also, you've got to think about the reason for this story coming out at this point. Now, think about this. Yeah. We are becoming more and more of a cashless society.
Right.
We now have that thing where you just flick your card at a machine and all of a sudden it'll nick 30 quid off you and stuff like that. So we don't need ATMs that much anymore. It's like public telephones. We don't need them now because we've all got our our mobile phones pinned to our ears all the time. We don't need ATMs. So this industry is starting to lose money because of the progression in a cashless society. Mm-hmm. And that's why they want to charge us, because they lose money.
You know what? They charge shopkeepers in Australia, they charge them so much money in merchant fees to run a little bank machine at their cash register, that now, and a lot of places in Melbourne in particular, don't have any. It's only cash. They won't even deal with card. And many other places, they have a minimum. You have to spend at least $10, or they won't. They charge you a fee to use their EFTPOS.
Makes sense. And I just found out apparently there are a number of cash ATMs now in the UK that are charging up to £2.50 and over in some cases.
That's extortionate.
In shops and places like that. But where Leigh's quite right, the vast majority of them are free. But there is a charge coming in. And it's the same with everything. You know, people want to get interest from a bank, which makes huge sense to me. And yet they don't want to pay for the bank people to make sure that their account is right. Like when you pay money to one person, they take it from that account. I know computers do it, but there's still a human entity there. And that all costs money, and everybody today wants everything for free, and you can't have it.
But there is an argument there, and I'm sorry to take you. I know I've been very bad-tempered today.
You've just been grumpy all day.
I've been grumpy because I'm poorly.
All right.
But no, think of it this way. What we do when we put our money in a bank, we allow that bank to use our money to make a profit for themselves. Correct. So why can't we have a share of that profit?
Blimey. I've just been told in probably South London from Dave, he went to a petrol station last night and it cost him, sorry, I'm going to have to move this screen around, £1.85 to use the cash point.
There you go.
Joking.
There you go, Dave. See, unbelievable. That's a lot of money.
I get that we have to have a fee, but I just don't understand why it has to be so incredibly high.
That's ridiculous.
Because we're becoming a cashless society, and they need to make money.
That's nearly $5, Rach.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not. It's actually 10,000 Australian dollars.
I think
they're renting our money. They're renting it, so we should be able to profit off the same.
Yeah, I've just got a follow on from Dave on that comment, and I think he's absolutely right. He said he didn't use it and he walked away, and I think that's what people should do.
Exactly. They give you a choice in Australia. They say this will cost you $2 transaction fee. Do you wish to continue?
Yep. Yeah, and right. I think you're absolutely right. We're going to have to crunch. We're going to have to crunch a few stories in here to get to some of the better ones. A Labour Party frontbench MP, Tulip Sag, has resigned after Jeremy Corbyn ordered. Get this. This is the. We'll be a democracy person. Jeremy Corbyn has ordered his party not to block the bill to trigger Article 50 and start Britain's exit from the EU. And I'm just wondering how many more of those it's going to take before things go bonkers. I might have a rant on the next one. Britain's prestigious music scene needs to be protected at grassroots level. That's according to the singer Slugs. Yeah. He had a lot of hits, didn't he? He was part of, if you don't know, he was part of Madness in the 1980s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he's talking about Camden's Dublin Castle, which is a dive, if ever you've ever seen one. It's horrible. And he thinks that these places should be saved. Now, I'm sorry, if you think that, Mr. Suggs, there's a simple solution. You buy it and you fund it.
Why? Why are you being so nasty to everybody?
Well, no, because why should people who, the taxpayer, what he's asking is for government funding, effectively, to save these places.
He doesn't need to do that in this day and age. All he has to do is start a GoFundMe page, and he'll have, if people have people who love live music paying tons of money.
Yeah,
but these places are history. They are as historic.
For whom?
To the people of the country of the world.
No, they're not.
They need to start writing a check, Uncle Leigh. They need to start doing fundraising and stuff that's public and not ask the government for money. Government's not going to give money to arts. You know this.
No.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, but you can use places like this. It's like we were talking about the Magic Village in Manchester earlier. Now that's long gone. It's been destroyed. But there is an old toilet block, a public toilet block, an underground public toilet block, which was redundant. It had nothing going for it at all. And while you're talking, Rachel, about the fact not funding arts, what the country did was fund this toilet block. And it became a bar. It's now one of the poshest bars in Manchester. Right. And why can't you do that with things like this? And actually,
no, but he doesn't want that. He wants to keep them as they are, a venue for music.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm sorry. If they failed, it's because nobody wants them anymore, because they are not very nice places to go to anymore.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. This toilet wasn't a very nice place to go to. At least in somewhere like Camden's Dublin Castle, you could go in there to listen to some music. Or, the toilet block had a different purpose.
But you have a club.
The toilet block must be flushed with funds now.
But you can only hear chamber music in it.
Are you two chaining your jokes together? Never mind, sorry. Anyway, we're going to get this money. Suggs, if you want to save that, go for it, mate. Start your own thing off. Do like Lord Blubby did and buy all the theatres. Because that worked.
Yeah. And he did very well out of it. I rest my case.
Yeah, because he knows what he's doing. And he goes
forward. Why can't
forward.
the idiotic government do it and make money out of it?
Because it's not their job.
They're too busy arguing. They don't have any money either. They need free consultants from Australia.
Very quickly, Rach, very quickly, we have to do this story between you and me. The British astronaut Tim Peake is about to go back into outer space again and visit the International Space Station again. And he made the announcement at the Science Museum this week. And he's going back up into space. Isn't he a lucky boy, Rach?
He so is. Did you know that the applications for the colonisation of Mars project went live?
Did it?
You can apply to go to Mars now. It's a one-way trip, but what a trip.
Or at least they're opening a Mars bar.
Oh.
But Tim Peake's lucky. He's going to have a great time. And he's going to get maybe about 6 inches taller.
Could be, couldn't he? He could be, actually. But I am slightly jealous of the man that's going back up to the space. I mean, I know I'm not fit enough to ever go, and never would be.
Super jealous. I'm so jealous.
You're so jealous.
Loads of people would like to send you out to outer space.
Yeah, I know that. With a big rocket on my bum as well at the same time, I know.
We want him to go inside a ship.
Thank you. The idiots have been out again as we do the last story, because it's going to be the and finally story, I think. Because in the old days of news, there was always an and finally, which was a satirical story or something very light-hearted or something just blatantly stupid. So,
water skiing squirrels, I believe.
Yes, something like that. Anyway, so people are claiming, get this, NASA cut live feeds from the International Space Station again after another UFO was seen blasting past the space station. How the hell do you know it was a UFO? Why couldn't it have just been a meteorite going past?
Because
technically it was a UFO. They couldn't identify
unidentified flying objects.
Exactly.
Why don't they say a meteorite?
They can't identify it.
Because they don't know what it was.
Yeah, but the intimation is it's a little ET coming again.
It's not insane that they don't know what it was. And the funny thing is that for some inexplicable reason, as it appeared on the screen, the whole of the setup was shut down for a few seconds until it vanished. That is a good, rollicking story.
It's a load of rubbish. It's a load of rubbish.
It could have been a hot dog.
It could have been a hot dog. You're absolutely right. Rach, I'm afraid to say...
Top Cat.
Rach, I'm afraid to say it's the time where you have to tell us what you're all going to be doing this week. End.
Sleeping.
Mostly I'll be unconscious. I'm supposed to be writing stories for CWF, and I'm going to really try hard to stay awake to accomplish that task.
Yeah. Oh, Dave's got a great idea. It wasn't really a UFO at all. It was just their server crashed in space.
There you go.
Ha, ha, ha.
somebody serving in the Mars bar.
Absolutely. Well, you haven't. I'm sorry to have woken you up, dear.
It's okay. I didn't have to answer. I did it because I'm a true professional.
You are a real old pro, aren't you? Yeah, real old pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
played... terrible.
No, because she played... Excuse me, Leigh, because she played one once. Thank you.
I did.
Ha, ha, ha. Take that. All you've got time to do is say sooty and sweep.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
That was Postcard from Poprad. Kilty K's up next, here on Radio Tatras International. Have a great weekend, enjoy yourselves, and just have fun.
RTI